Coach Weaver here again, helping you become a better leader. We're continuing on with our best practice series today. We're on number 7. And today I want to introduce to you the concept of 3 governing questions. We all make a lot of decisions in our daily life. Decisions from what to wear, what to eat, how to spend our time. And we are bombarded by so many decisions and so many options that we have to make decisions quickly a lot of times. Sometimes the process that we go through to make the decisions is subconscious and we're not even aware of it. Sometimes we make decisions based on habit or comfort level that we've developed over the years. Well, these are all part of the problem-solving skills that we've developed over time. The problem is that they're not always useful in getting us where we want to be. It's almost self-sabotaging, if you will. And they lead us to bad decisions at times. So the concept of 3 governing questions is about being proactive in developing the questions that govern our problem solving so that we can make better and more consistent decisions and ones that really are in line with where we want to be. So for example, in business we have to choose every day what our priorities are going to be for the day, what we're going to accomplish. So how do you choose this? Well, if you don't have 3 defining questions, then you're likely to make those same decisions the same as you always have. But if we stop and think about it and think about what our values are, what our goals are, and what's going to help us reach those, we can define 3 governing questions that can easily help us prioritize our day as we run through these 3 questions. So they might be something like, is it on my calendar? If it is, it's probably important. I need to hold to those commitments. Is it the best use of my time? And maybe the third one is, can it be done in the time that I have? In other words, is it a larger project and I need to schedule it a day or 2 in the future where I have more of a block of time to complete it? Those are just examples of 3 questions that might be the ones that I use. And if those questions are based on my goals, my priorities, and my values, then I can comfortably use those questions to plan out my day every day. Well, in leading people, it's the same way. As a leader, I have to make decisions every day. If I develop 3 governing questions based on my values, the company's mission and goals, I can evaluate most situations and how to deal with them based on these questions. So let me tell you a little bit about Luke. Luke has a dozen technicians that are out in the field doing service calls in customers' homes. And they would come across problems, concerns a lot, and would tell the customer, well, let me check with my boss, that kind of thing. Well, I don't know if you've ever had this situation as a customer, but it's really frustrating to be on the customer end, especially if there's multiple problems or questions that you have. So, for example, my wife had our cable technician come out last week, and he had to call his boss 3 times before they agreed to replace some faulty equipment. And the equipment ultimately was about $100. So yes, it was an outlay for the company, but the service call took over 3 hours and left my wife very annoyed, and me because I had to hear all about it when I got home from work. Well, going back to Luke, he would get calls like this all the time and could hardly get anything done because on his end, he had to deal with the interruptions and the distraction from one technician or another calling, and it really interfered with his work as the manager and the leader. So we sat down and worked through how he makes his decisions, and he was able to come up with 3 governing questions that worked for him that he could use to make good service call decisions. Next, he met with his technicians and explained to them not only the 3 questions, but the reasons, the values behind those questions. So after this, within a couple of weeks, it didn't take long, he was able to cut down the number of his calls by 75% because the technicians knew the decision process that Luke went through and knew they could go through that same process and make a similar decision. And they knew that he would support the decision because it was based on the same logic and values that Luke would use. Now, they didn't work in every situation, and in fact, Luke had to put some limits on their decisions because in his case, he put a dollar amount limit on them. So everything under $200 consequence, they could make the decision, but anything over that, they still had to call him and work through it to see if it was really the best option. But in business, what you need to do is consider where you're making routine decisions and really look at how you make those decisions. What values, what questions you're asking, what is going in to influence your decisions, and develop 3 governing questions based on your values, your goals, the company mission, whatever it might be, that can guide you and others in making those decisions. And every situation is different, so there's no exact 3 questions that work for everyone, but here are a couple examples of questions that some customers have come up with or used as some of their 3 governing questions in situations. By using this 3 governing question method or technique, you will become a better leader, make better and more consistent decisions, and save yourself a lot of headaches. You will also train and prepare those under you to become leaders with critical thinking skills, which is ultimately, what you want is for good people to be able to move up into more of a leadership position. So until next time, best success to you.